Hi, it's Coach D. What if I told you that I had the biggest financial success with my finances, not when I began to earn more money, but when I began to take my finances seriously? That's what we're going to dig into today. Hi, hi, hi. So, if you have never been here before, welcome. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. Talk Tuesday is our segment where we go over tips to help you enhance your finances. As I stated earlier, I'm Coach D. And I always want to help you to reach and exceed your financial goals while still enjoying life in the process. This month's theme, every month we have a theme. This month's theme is the next level of your financial life. Today's topic: what changed when I began to take my finances seriously? And if you don't know, last week we celebrated our 5-year anniversary for business. So not only did that, bring me to think about my business, but also about my finances and the growth that I had with my finances in my personal life, because ultimately that's what helped me to begin my business, start my business, encouraged me because after I had things going on with my finances and figured out how to improve them, I began to help others and it was working. It was successful. They were having just as much success as I was having, if not more, which encouraged me, hey, you're onto something. So that's how the business was birthed. Ultimately, of course, a little longer story than that, but just just a quick story with that. So that's what I was doing. So I want to go over what I did with my finances, which helped me to improve them, and hope that and then maybe one of the things I speak about will encourage you to make a change to help you enhance your finances. To give you a little backstory, in college, that's where it started for me. When I went to college out of state, and they were giving me credit cards, and I was handling my finances, my money. I always had a job, I was paying my bills, so that wasn't an issue. I never had credit cards. So I got credit cards, and they were every time I went to my little mailbox at my school, it was another offer for a credit card, another offer. They just kept coming. So I'm like, okay. So then I started applying for them, and then they were coming in. So I was getting the cards and using them. Now I was always paying the bills on time, but of course I was paying the minimum, not knowing, you need to pay more than the minimum, but that's what I was doing. So I was managing them. But then when I came back home from college and had, more expenses, adult expenses on top of just the credit card expense I had before, that's when things got real for me. So that's how ultimately things had to change for me, and I went through a couple of things to get situated with that. So, I've overcome almost 100,000 in debt, which includes the credit cards and student loans. So, yeah. So let's talk about what I did. The first thing I have here is I started looking at the whole picture. This was something that I was not doing because what I would do is when I got a bill for a credit card, I would pay that bill and all right, next one comes in, I'm paying that bill. And just like that, I wasn't looking at the whole picture. I wasn't looking at how many credit cards I had, how much total debt I had on all of the cards, and how long it might take me to pay everything off. So I was just looking at, okay, at the now, I'm paying this bill, I'm paying this bill, I'm paying that bill. Everything's paid on time. That's not the issue. The issue was I wasn't making a real dent in it. Nothing was being paid off because I'm paying the minimum, but guess what else I was doing? Still spending, still sliding the card. So, younger, you don't know that. Or many people don't know that. They don't have the knowledge of, success with your credit cards. So that's was one thing for me. So I had to look at the big picture, piece out things as far as the debt, think about my savings because we can't forget that. Putting a little bit in the savings, I was living, I'm going on vacations and things like that. But I also needed to just see the whole big picture. So that's what's the perfect start for me is just realizing, okay, I had to sit down, lay it all out, and really look at what I had going on. So I knew where I was starting the process. So I can see the ultimate picture. That's like the reality. So if that's something you haven't done yet, I encourage you to do that. Just take look at your big picture. Write it down, get a planner and, or just a piece of paper. Start with a piece of paper. Write it all down. The next thing I did was I had to realize that it takes time. So for me, I'm like, I don't, after seeing the big picture, I'm like, okay, I don't want to have all this debt. I want it to be paid off, and I want to be paid off in 6 months. Not realizing that, having that much debt, it's impossible to pay it off in 6 months unless I hit the lottery or something like that. Where was all that money going to come from to pay it off that fast? Okay. So, it takes time. So I had to realize that, 1 month at a time, set my goals, maybe set my goal for the, not maybe, set my goals for the long term, set my shorter goals. So I have something to work towards that keeps me going, keep my momentum going. So I had to get out of my mind the short time period and actually when you write it out, because I'm always someone who writes everything out. So I write out, how long it'll take me to pay this off, how long will it take me to pay this off, and being mindful of how much money I actually had coming in, how much was going out, how much I had left, so I can determine what I can actually put towards these debts. So I can see what I can pay extra outside of the minimum. So that really helped me to hone in on the fact that it takes time. It will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. The next thing I did was create habits. The having the goals very motivating, keeps me going. But I had to create habits because after, my goals take a little longer to get to, then that motivation, it goes away because now I'm like, "Oh, I've been doing paying this bill for this many months and I'm still don't feel like I'm not even halfway." And that could, help you to not help you, but it cause you to lose your motivation. So for me, I had to build little habits. Okay, I'm going to track my how much debt I've actually paid off. Stop looking at what I have left, but let's see what I've paid off. So seeing that progress helped me more than looking at how far I had to go. So my habit was I was always checking. I set a schedule, so I would definitely recommend you set a schedule. What works for you? Take time, if it's every 2 weeks, every week, whatever you can do to actually look at your statements, and that's your bank account. Look at what you're spending, make sure everything's correct because sometimes things aren't correct. So if we never look at it, we would never know. I began to look at my actual credit card statements, looking at how much interest I was paying, so I can have that reality of, okay, you borrowed this money, this is how much you have to pay it back, or this is what you're paying to borrow that, and seeing how it kept going up and things like that. So my habit was to look at things, not be afraid of it, not hide from it, not like, I'm not looking at that. Nope. Rip the band-aid off. I'm looking at everything that's going on. Write down my progress. This month, this card, I paid off this much. Okay, this quarter with these cards, I paid off this much. So that for me, that was awesome because I'm seeing my progress and it's encouraging and it just kept me going. It just kept me going. So definitely create some habits for you, depending on what your financial goals might be to help you improve your finances altogether. If it's for saving, if it's for your vacation, buying a house, getting that car or getting ready to have a child, a wedding, whatever it might be you're working towards or working on, create your plan so you can have your habits, lined up so they can keep you going. And the last thing I'll discuss today is when I started to celebrate my progress because like I stated in the beginning, I was, you're excited, you're getting started, I'm telling everyone, and then, you know, I'm not getting the progress as fast as I would like. So you lose the motivation and you're not telling everybody, yeah, I've only paid off $300 on this one. No, I celebrate my progress just as loud as I was telling everyone I started, I'm doing this. I started telling everyone. And that also is accountability because once you start telling people, then they're invested with you, and they'll ask you, "All right, so how you doing?" And that will keep you going also. So find, maybe you don't want to tell everyone, but find like that one person you want to tell, or the two people, or if you have a little group that you work together with, let them know. Hold each other accountable. Maybe meet once a month, or however you can work it, so you guys can be each other's motivation to keep going. So that was wonderful for me, celebrating my progress. I just kept going, and that's ultimately how I got to my financial success. So, I hope that was interesting. I hope it's encouraging to you. Um, while you're watching this, tomorrow we'll be celebrating my 5-year anniversary in business. We're having a virtual celebration, which will include trivia, because everything has to include finances. We'll be playing games, there'll be prizes. We'll talk about the history of the business, where the business started, where the business is going. I have some secrets to share, what we'll be doing, coming up in our business. So I definitely invite you to come. It's free to attend, but you will have to register. You have to register. So the link is in the caption of this video. So I hope to see you there, um, and meet you there. All right. So as always, with all my videos, I leave with reflection questions. So I'll leave you with two. The first one, what's one financial habit you know you need to improve? You know what you're doing, so you will know which habit you'll need to improve. So maybe that could be I need to, check my account more often. Maybe I need to stop using my credit cards, or, slow down on using my credit cards, or just look at my create a budget. Like, you'll know what that habit is, but the goal is to make you just think about it and reflect on it. All right. The second question, what have I made progress on that I haven't acknowledged? This is an important one because sometimes we're looking at all the bad, not the good. Have to celebrate the good. Progress is progress. Okay. So, what have you made progress on that you haven't acknowledged? Think about that. All right. Well, I'm going to leave you with this. Taking your finances seriously doesn't mean that you're obsessed with your money. It just means you're becoming intentional with it. One decision at a time, one habit at a time, one step at a time. Get started. All right. I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll be posting another video in just 2 weeks. All right. See you later. If you liked it, definitely hit the like button, subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you tomorrow at our celebration event. It is at 7 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. So click the link and I'll see you there.